The internet radio audience is growing fast. It all began with Karl Malamud in 1993 as Internet Talk Radio first broadcast took place on June 24th, 1993. The percentage of Americans who listen to music on the internet is closing in the percentage of Americans who listen to music on traditional platforms such as FM, AM radio, and compact disc. Soon internet music listening will surpass the radio and physical media when the internet era has officially begun. Traditional avenues like radio, CD have seen steep decline of double-digit percentage. The youngsters are turning in to get fresh and new content worldwide. The world of choice is the key here. Radio has helped us to get through our commutes, workdays, and of course, power outages. We have relied on it for its stability and consistency. Real change is coming. And the internet, as the internet and Wi-Fi have evolved in most every industry, it appears likely they will help to fundamentally alter radio as we know it today. We have been seeing steady growth and momentum in internet radio listening. According to the Pew Research Center for Excellence in Journalism, in 2011, 1/3 of all Americans, 34% or 89 million people, said they have listened to either streaming of AM, FM stations, internet-only services such as Pandora and Pulse in the previous month. While the impressive radio advertising period says 73% of adults 18 years and above of radio listening still occurs in cars, where internet radio has not yet penetrated meaningfully. Folks are connecting their smartphones through the speakers, but that number is still relatively small. What about satellite radio? What about XM Sirius? Has now about 24 million subscribers. Growth has been slow, perhaps because consumers are accustomed to free radio. Change appears to be imminent as we are beginning to hear more and more about the connected Wi-Fi enabled car market. Not unlike the way we are seeing Wi-Fi on planes and trains, we'll soon see it as a standard option in automobiles. Wi-Fi will mean listeners will be able to access radio stations on the web and across the country, and the number of options available will be unprecedented. Tuning into local radio as we know it today will no longer exist. There won't be any geographical limitations. What will this mean to stations who define themselves by their local markets? To stay in business, they will need to figure out how to make sure they have solidified their value to local consumers, or they will be replaced by other options that will. And once wired and working, the connected car will set off an app revolution. Listeners will be offered music, news, weather and traffic, celebrity gossip apps and more. Listeners have gotten accustomed to personalization with the rise of such services as Pandora and Spotify. It seems quite certain now that this democratization of assembling playlists will spread more universally to all radio listening platforms and locations. The programmers will be the listeners themselves, and an era of limitless choices will begin. Will traffic and weather on the 80s be a thing of the past? Not even listener chooses to listen that way. And what content providers will survive? Likely the ones who are savvy enough to offer more of the content listeners want to hear. The music is changing and everything else. The trend appears irreversible. More and more drivers are replacing FM and AM talk jockeys with apps on their smartphones. Same job, age, race, nationality, even ethnicity are discussing their topics of interest. To add salt to this, emergency of free teleconferencing radio on the phone services such as Plug Talk Radio, Zen Radio, and Audio Now. Many are now converging into groups of interest. Radio apps are now pre-installed in their cars dashboard computers. Internet radio will eventually be the eclipse of the radio star.